All right, so Act 1, Scene 2 is where we left off. We said that Hamlet also wants to leave and go back to his normal life. He was in Germany going to school, but Claudius refuses, and Gertrude, his mother, they ask him to stay. They don't let him go back. And the reason they say is they want him to remain in the cheer and comfort of our eye. This is the royal we here, this our, so this is Claudius speaking because he's the king. But there are so many references to eyes and seeing and watching in this play that it's almost ridiculous. We talked about the guards being on watch at the beginning. Here, they are basically literally saying that they want to keep him close. And Claudius is making it sound positive with, diction, positive diction like cheer and comfort. But he's also saying, I want to keep an eye on you. And as we mentioned before, this transition of power in the back of everybody's heads, they know that Hamlet is supposed to be king, but he's not. And Claudius, too, knows this. And so Hamlet would be the #1 threat to Claudius's power. And it's implied that that's why he wants to keep him close. He wants to make sure that Hamlet is basically not plotting against him. And then we talked last week a little bit about Hamlet's unmanly grief, right? That he was grieving too long. And that's going to come up again in your questions about the soliloquy that we are coming to right now. I'm not going to have enough time in this video to go over the entire soliloquy, so that'll be in the next one. For this one, I want to make sure that we know what a soliloquy is and sort of set the scene for it. So a soliloquy, this is a word we're going to use a lot, so we want to make sure we have it defined. A soliloquy is basically a monologue, right? So it's a speech that one character gives, a long speech, but it's delivered when the character is alone on stage. There is no one else around to hear this speech. And so these soliloquies are a way for a playwright to show a character's interiority, to let the audience see what's going on inside the character's head, what they're thinking, and what they're feeling. And that's important, especially in Hamlet, when we see that everybody is watching everybody else, and Hamlet is in this very awkward position in terms of his power and standing in the court. So he probably can't say what he really thinks or feels to anybody else. And so he has to perform when he's around people and only gets to be himself when he's alone. And Shakespeare was actually an innovator when it comes to this technique. He's one of the very first playwrights ever to use soliloquies in this way, to have them at all, and to have them really give a character depth and show their thoughts and feelings in this way. So here, we've just had this big assembly where the king is giving this grand speech and people are asking him for favors and permission for different things. And then he and Gertrude talk to Hamlet and tell him, that he needs to man up and stop grieving his father and move on with everybody else. And then everybody leaves the room. Hamlet is finally alone, and it's like this release. And he releases his thoughts and emotions for the audience to see. And we will talk about what he says, what he's thinking and feeling in the next video.